Hey everybody, we're back. Legal Help Live. My partner Steve Solomon and I am Ralph Saltzman. We're here to answer your legal questions. You got to call us at 1-800-405-4222. That's the number to get in to ask that legal question and get a legal answer.
So
hey,
what's
Steve,
this? I'm fantastic. Just got back from a fantastic trip across the United States.
That wasn't you here
looking
last week?
at justice. No, that's scrubby. Who was here last week?
Ryan.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Hadn't shaved in about 6 weeks. So
6 years.
6 years?
Yeah.
I tell you. So it was a great trip.
Good.
Visited all kinds of places, mainly legal places.
Did you keep up with all the fantastic legal events
of
Southern California?
So,
yes.
You reach us on the number on the screen. It's a call-in show.
Or
we're in Southern California, or you can reach us on Twitter at Legal Help Live, Twitter at Legal Help Live, and we'll answer your tweets or
tweets, I think. Yeah. So if you want to tweet us, just hit at Legal Help Live, one word. It'll come right in here. We'll read your question and give an answer.
And if you want to talk about whether or not the Dodgers are liable for the horrible injuries to the San Francisco fan at the park, if you want to talk about whether or not McCord ought to have to pay back all the money that he used for personal expenses, we talk about that. If you want to talk about the Jamie McCord divorce and the millions of dollars that are going to the lawyers, we'll talk about that. If you want to talk about, this is not a sports show, whether or not all the taxpayers in Southern California can sue the Dodgers in a class action for not
lack of support
for not putting on an appropriate event, which is sort of like grand theft, I guess, taking those high tickets.
Yeah, they are charging. They're charging people more than ever for tickets.
It's sort of nice to have your local sports club in bankruptcy.
Do you remember the conversation that we had? Now, this is many, many months ago, where Larry Silverstein had substituted a page in the prenuptial agreement between.
Oh yeah.
He substituted a page that everybody agreed to. I think.
Well, Silverstein was the attorney.
He was the attorney representing Frank, and he drafted a prenuptial agreement that was supposed to give Frank McCourt sole rights to the Dodgers.
Now, the prenuptial agreement is an agreement you sign before you get married that disposes of your property if and when you split or get a divorce.
Exactly. So, unfortunately, he put in a word or took out a word. He put in the word no, or he left out the word not, and it reversed the believed intent of the parties.
But he did it without anybody knowing about it.
And then he fixed it to be what he thought everybody had already agreed on, and he didn't tell anybody about that.
After it was all signed.
Exactly. And then so he just substituted that one page, and of course, it was cited by the Superior Court judge in the property division as one reason why the Dodgers, the club, the Dodgers, was community property belonging to both Jamie and to Frank. So, of course, Frank has sued Larry Silverstein, and that court case is still going on in Boston. And
that's all stayed by the bankruptcy, I would suspect.
Actually, that's going to be discussed in the Superior Court in Boston on Monday.
All right, well,
next week.
And the law firm is also sued against the club, claiming they didn't do anything wrong.
Well, that's how it started. Interestingly enough, the lawsuit started as a failure to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees. The law firm sued Frank for not paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees, and then Frank turned around and sued the firm for malpractice.
Don't they teach you in law school that you're not supposed to sue your clients? Because you usually get a cross-complaint back.
They do.
So
they do.
It's a total messed up thing, and I guess the whole resolution of it is that Major League Baseball wants to take back the team, sell it, and there are a lot of great potential buyers in Southern California.
Yes, there are.
Who will spend money on security and getting better ball players and putting out a product that we can be proud of, as opposed to be the embarrassing sight that we are right now.
But I hope they don't get rid of the Dodger dogs, because, I mean, there are traditions that shouldn't be abandoned.
Well, I would bark at that, but unbelievable. The only security I think they had for a while at Dodger Stadium was stopping people from throwing the beach balls around. I think that was the big security.
That's where all the security guards were going.
And
they were going after the beach balls.
They were about 80 years old. They got rid of all the police.
Did they ever find one of those beach balls?
So they always grabbed a beach ball. There would be
eventually.
That was
eventually.
1-800-405-4222.
Yep. And if you want to ask us a question by Twitter, I mean, if you're part of this part of the 21st century, you can tweet us at Legal Help Live, just like the screen shows us.
So, are you a twitty or a twittor? I guess that's a legal phrase.
I'm not going to say twit, but that's a possibility.
I guess you are. I wouldn't say that either.
Okay.
So, what's going on in the law?
In the law, other than McCourt, I don't know if everybody remembers, but I know you and I both remember because it was pretty exciting at the time. I guess it was 1971. D.B. Cooper boards a 727, holds out for ransom. The reason that he chose a 727 has a rear door that goes directly back. It exits directly back to the airplane, not to the side of the fuselage. It was a flight to Seattle. He had $200,000 in ransom. He had a parachute, and he jumped out of the 727, and no one has heard from him since. The FBI is very interested in finding him, even though it's now, 40 years later? Yeah, it's 40 years later. And now, Ms. Cooper...
Is this the same FBI that was been looking for, was it Whitey Bulger?
Yes.
Who was
they found him here.
Living in Santa Monica, California, in a rent-controlled apartment for 12 years?
Yeah.
And no one could find him.
Frequenting the farmer's market, going on long walks.
And there's an FBI office at the corner of Sepulveda and Wilshire,
yeah,
which is not more than 3 miles from where he was living. So this must have been one of the greatest manhunts. I can only tell you that on the East Coast, it was the biggest thing. I mean, I was in Boston. It was the biggest thing ever in Boston.
We've got a very dear friend in Boston, one in particular, who asked my wife to go to the apartment in Santa Monica and take a picture of it and email it back to her so she can have something for her wall.
So they couldn't find Whitey, and they couldn't.
And they did eventually.
And they couldn't find D.B. Cooper.
Right, and now his maybe niece, Marla Cooper, maybe that's his niece, maybe not, says that she thinks that he survived the jump. And he died maybe 20 years ago.
Nobody knows what's going on. You believe it?
They don't know. The FBI says that they've got a lead, but I heard on the radio recently that the FBI's lead means that they sent fingerprints for analysis, and that's about it.
We've been asking for calls, so why don't we go to the phone?
Sure.